Guys, how's it going? Marvelous surprise this morning. Got up 6 inches of nice fresh snow on the ground. Thought we were done with this shit, but I guess not. Wishful thinking. Anyway, so because it's snowy outside, I'm going to spend the whole day in the garage for a change. Anyway, today, Model A, going to get that hood sorted out. I've got to trim it, I've got to add to it, I've got to figure out a latching mechanism. I've got an idea, a little bit crazy idea. I'm going to try it out. It's so crazy that it just might work. Sorry. Yeah, so that's what we're going to get on. New subscribers, thank you very much. Got a bunch last week again. And yeah, it's going in the right direction. Tell a friend, tell a chum, spread the word, man. So, I got a little bit to do to finish stripping the paint off the hood. I'll probably go to time lapse for that. And, once I'm done that, then I'll explain what I'm doing. I'm also going to trim the hinge on the hood. And I'll explain that after I get back from time lapse. So, yeah, let's just get after it, man. Okay, I'll show you what's going on real quick here. Because I've elevated the rad shell, before I did that, the hood would slope downward, okay? So what would happen with the stock hood, because it's square at the front, if it's sloping downward, you'd have a gap here between the rad shell and the hood. And you'd have an overlap at the back, vice versa. So what the guy's solution was to cut the back where it overlapped and add a piece on the front of the hood. So that's what he did. So now that I've elevated it, and it's going to come up like so, it's going to overlap the rad shell in the front, and it's going to be short in the back. So I've got to undo what he did. So I'll show you real quick here. Sorry about that. So here's the hood. And we can see, I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can see the welds right here from where he added the piece onto the front, and then he had cut off a chunk off the back. So I'm going to have to install a hood or put it in place, mark it, where it's got to be trimmed to make it fit, because what we're going to do is we're going to weld this hinge together. So the way this works is there's a pin here that fits into that hole right there in that bracket, and there's a similar one on the car. So when you were going to install this, you'd have the rad shell loose and pulled apart so that you could fit the rad in. You'd pull the rad shell in until it's tight, and then tighten everything up. But you don't want to have to remove the rad shell every time you want to lift the hood. So like I said, we're making this one piece. So the way this works is this pin right here goes all the way through. And half of these little loops belong to either side of the two-piece hood. So, it's the best way of showing this. This piece here, this loop, belongs to this side. This piece here belongs to this side, and vice versa, all the way down. Now I've already cut here and removed that piece of the pin, because what my plan is what if I was to put a spring in here and a piece of the pin here with a little, just a little wee pin button or whatever you want to call it, so I could slide it back and forth. And with the spring in, you pull it back, drop the hood in place, let the pin go, and it'll go into the hole that's at the back on the car, that one there. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So before I can weld that hinge together, I've got to get it fitting right at the rad shell. So I'm going to have to mark this and cut it. So I'm going to get that on the car now, and I'll come back when it's on the car. Okay, so here it is. You can see how it overlaps the rad shell here, and we've got a big ass gap on this side. So I've got to fill this in and trim that down. I've already drawn a line where I'm going to be cutting it. I just used a piece of cardboard, something flexible to get around that curve to draw my line. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out, and we'll get the front fitting first, and then I'll weld that hinge up. So that's where I'm at. Okay, so I've cut the amount that I had to off of both sides, front corners. This is just an indication of I got to fine tune it a little bit, take it down just a bit with a grinder. I've also welded, the hinge together at each of the joints. So it's essentially a one-piece fixed hood now. And I've marked out how much I have to add as I kind of go, and it stops right about there. Same on both sides. So yeah, we got to add those pieces on yet. And then here, you can see I cut a slot in the very last section of the hood hinge. And what I'm going to do is, I got my spring, so I'm going to put that in there. And then I got this. This is a piece off of a light fixture or a lamp or something. I got a drawer full of these pieces. So I cut that to length and drilled a hole in it. So that's going to go in there. And then, right, get the idea. Then I'm going to put a screw in there and tack it in place so it can't come out. And that's my latch. Like so. I think it's pretty slick. And then I'll take the screw, I'll cut the head off the screw, and clean up the pin. So it's just a very subtle pin, short, and it'll be hiding in plain sight. So I think it's going to work out pretty slick. So I'm going to get all of this together, get my pieces added on, and clean up the welds and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll put it in place and see how everything fits. I'm sure it'll be excellent. And then that'll be it for metal work on this Model A. It'll be just some body filler work and lots of sanding and priming and sanding and sanding and more sanding. So that's where we're going to be at. So I'll come back after I've got this all cleaned up, and we'll see how everything fits. Okay, I'm calling the metal work pretty much done. I've cut, down here, cut the front off already, tweaked it a little bit. I've added my pieces onto both corners. Now I'm going to have to probably run the grinder on this to get a nice straight line, but I got to fit it first. And then here's my cool little Latch. Pretty neat. So it actually locks in, stays in there. So when I drop the hood in place, we just sort of let the pin go, and away she is. So I think it's pretty slick. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna fit this thing on there and see what we got. Okay, so overall not bad. A little tight here, so I'll take a little bit off that. Front edge is pretty good. The latch is working perfectly. So I'm pretty happy. I got to take a little bit more off right here. And I believe this side is, yeah, this side's pretty good. Maybe a touch right here. And that's it. And I'm calling it done. So we're ready for filler work pretty much. I got about 10 minutes of grinding left on this thing. And we'll get going on the mud work. Now, I know you're looking at the headlight saying that thing is crooked, and you're right, it is. That's why it's just vice grip on there. I've got to figure out exactly where the headlights are going to go yet. But I have a pretty good idea of it. And so yeah, there we go. The hood. One piece lift-off hood with a built-in slicker and shit latch. I like it. Okay, that was a super quickie fix. I thought it would take me a bit longer than that, but anyway, it's all good. Everything fits. It almost snapped into place this time, so it's good. Ready for putty. I did clean up all the welds on my hinges, so that's done as well. So now that I've got it all together, I got to take it all apart because I've got to do the filler work on the fenders right after I line up the headlights. So the headlights are the next thing to line up. Not a big deal. You know, it's just playing with it. I think they're sitting cockeyed on the stand as well. So there's all kinds of adjustment here. Basically, underneath here is like a ball, and then on this little arm here is kind of a socket, so you can swivel it each in any which way you want. And then the horn, well, that's just leaning downwards, so no big deal. I'll straighten it all out because I want to drill my holes before I take it apart. So yeah, that's where we're at, and I'm good to go. I'm quite pleased. Real happy with my sexy little latch. So there you have it. Excuse me, I gotta take care of something here. There. Yeah, so finally the metal work is done on this thing. So yeah, I'm gonna play around with the headlights a little bit in the morning, and then once I get them figured out where it is, mark the holes, drill them, and then pull the fenders off and start doing the mud work on those. The rear fenders are almost finished, so I'm thinking probably 3 days of body work altogether to get the hood and the 2 front fenders done, finish off the rear fenders and get them in a primer, and then, you know, that brings everything up to almost the same level. So that's good. Yeah, I'm really anxious now. Get this thing out of here. You know, this thing leaves more puddles on the floor than a 3-week-old puppy. Every time I move the car, there's a big puddle of oil or transmission fluid or something. I mean, if it don't leak, there's nothing in it. So once I get this thing painted, I'm going to have to spend probably a day underneath and see what's going on. I think the tranny pan is over tightened, and I think maybe the oil pan might be over tightened as well, and the rear diff cover, because all 3 of them leak. So that's probably what it is. You over tighten them, and then they get like this, and they leak. So common mistake for a lot of guys, they do that, over tighten them. So don't do that. That means I'll probably have to get some gaskets. I still got to do that track bar, but that's not a big deal. So I figure all that stuff underneath one day, and then I got a few days of sanding, and then she's ready to shoot and paint. So yeah, getting real close, and I'll be happy to get it out of here. What else? All the snow we got is melted already, so that's good. I'm happy about that. We got a couple days of real cold stuff coming, and then it's supposed to shoot right up to 7-8 degrees. So yeah, I think we're done after this week. What else? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a ton of sanding over the next few days. So I don't know how much video I'll get shot, but I'll do what I can. Nobody wants to watch somebody just sanding. I mean, that's kind of boring. It's boring to do, never mind to watch. So I'll do what I can, see what I can get some footage of. Yeah, new subscribers, thanks again. Got a good bunch again last week. Every day goes by, I get a few anyway. So spread the word, tell your buddies, tell your chums, and that's how that's how things get rolling. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit the little bell. That'll tell you when the next video is up. It's getting late now. It's about 12:30. So I'm gonna have a beer or two, and then hit the old sack, and get after it early in the morning. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. So if you're not doing anything, get out in the garage and build something, man. Later, guys.